expensive camera. First off, sorry about not uploading the past week. I've started back taking tech school classes, so I have less time to do videos. So hopefully I can keep uploading every week, but just, you know, I might miss here or there. Anyway, I wanted to talk about the good old venerable Canon R8. You may know it as the camera that I usually use to film these videos, which means right now I'm using a Rebel T2i, which I'll talk about later on this channel. So good old Canon R8 has been my main photography camera since January of this year, whenever I got it. I got that, the RF50, and then the RF24 to 105 variable aperture, whatever you want to call it. And I have mixed opinions. It's a little difficult because on one hand, this is a great camera. These are great lenses. But on the other hand, I've been disappointed by the RF mount. And well, I've had some issues with this camera in particular here. I think Canon gimped this thing because this is a great camera right here. This is everything you need. And that is probably because this is literally just an R6 cut down. And the ways it's cut down make it bad. For the most part. I'll talk about some of the obvious things first. No IBIS, single SD card slot, that is fine. But I have a couple issues that are not necessarily easily solvable. We'll just say that. For one, overheating. I attempted and failed to shoot an outdoor event with this thing the other day. I am really lucky that I was second shooting for someone who had another camera, because otherwise I would have been screwed royally, because I got to about 3 bars within 15 minutes and it fully overheated and shut down within 30. Doing photos, not even video, not even touching video. 4K video with this thing, it's basically unusable in my experience if you are outside, because it overheats so quickly that it doesn't even make it worth even thinking about it for. And between that and the fact that it doesn't have IBIS, it's just kind of not the best video camera that you can get. I'd rather have a nicer APS-C camera than this. But for photography, that's not half bad. I actually do not think I could use this for professional work. I'm going to have to upgrade this sooner rather than later, because this thing overheats like crazy. It's not even funny. And I've heard that, according to Reddit, so not the most reliable source of news in the world, this apparently is an issue with the firmware, because apparently it just takes a reading whenever you turn on the camera, and whatever that is set as the base, and as soon as it rises, it just does that. At least that's kind of how I understood the Redditors, how they were saying it. So basically what it sounds like to me is a firmware issue that Canon could fix, but they aren't. Which leads into my theory that Canon has gimped this camera intentionally so that it does not compete with the R6. I don't even think that's that crackpot of a theory, because this thing is literally just an R6 in a RP body with an RP battery, and that's it. And it's really annoying, because my other issue with this is the battery life, which is just not acceptable. During a live stream, yeah, I live stream right here on this channel. It's called Camera Guy Live, so you should probably subscribe so you don't miss that. And hey, while you're down there, you might as well like the video. I mean, hey, you're already down there. So this uses Canon's lower end LP E17 batteries that are made for budget APS-C cameras, and they put it in a full frame. Not necessarily your best idea there, Canon. I guess you gotta make it different from the R6 somehow. You gotta make it unusable. While I was doing Camera Guy Live, the battery just died 37 minutes in, 1080p, 30 FPS footage. And that's not horrible, right? Like, you know, I'm shooting 40 minutes consecutive video. Not many people are going to do that on one battery, but it's not just video. I mean, for one, I basically drained an entire battery doing 4K video in about 20 minutes once. That is genuinely unusable, at least in my opinion, you know, the world of videography, doing like events and that kind of stuff. But honestly, I haven't had that many issues with it in photo. I've done like 2 to 3 hour shoots before with this thing, and it's like, you know, ran the battery out, but like, you know, 2 to 3 3 hours of shooting photos, and if I just carry a couple other batteries, that's not the end of the world. Unless you're shooting something important, yeah, I wouldn't trust this thing at a wedding. I would legitimately just have to rent an R6 or an R5 because of one unforgivable sin, in my opinion. It's a quality of life thing that shouldn't be quality of life. It doesn't show battery percentage. I'm serious. If I turn it on right now, you can see it just shows that, and that is unacceptable. I am sorry. It is 2024. That wasn't acceptable in 2007 when the iPhone came out, much less in 2024. I guess this released in 22, I think, in a mirrorless camera. I'm sorry, man. Why can't I see my battery percentage? I think like all things show you battery percentage. It's not even just cameras, it's phones, it's smartwatches. My smartwatch tells me how much battery is left. It's basically just like large, and then you get to about like 30% battery, I assume, and then you have 2 bars left, and it's like, oh, I better be careful, and then all of a sudden it's flashing red and you've got 2 minutes left to live. And so I just straight up could not trust this thing in any sort of photography where I would be looking at it and going, yeah, I can't afford to have downtime. There are some events where you just can't. The idea of a battery just giving out on you randomly, and that's why I'm going to say that Canon gimped the R8. I also have one more issue that's a lot more of a personal thing than anything, and that is basically the RF mount mid-range lineup sucks. There's no 1.4 primes that I can, I just want to pay like $1,000 to $1,500 for a prime, right? That's not an unreasonable thing to ask. Try saying that to anyone who isn't a photographer, they'll think you're insane. But like the RF mount just doesn't have mid-range options. It just has its budget options, and then it has like, ooh, I want to spend $3,000 on a zoom lens. I know Canon's basic response to this is just buy an EF mount lens and use an adapter. That is your mid-range right now because we just don't have the resources to put out as many lenses as people want. Except no, what the Sigma? Kill yourself! This is a Sigma 24-70 f2.8. I love this lens because it is optical image stabilization, because Canon's didn't have that. So this camera feels great with the RF 50mm, but as soon as I put something relatively heavy on here, ooh, I'm terrified of holding it like this. It's so front heavy. This camera is so light, which I know it's stupid. I'm complaining about something being light. That's generally a good thing, but it legitimately makes it hard to use these higher end lenses on this thing for me personally, because it doesn't feel right. This is way too heavy in the front, way too light in the back. It's just so front heavy. That's a personal complaint. Don't actually, I don't know, man. This is just a lot of personal gripes. Take everything I say in this video with a grain of salt because I am an idiot. Anyway, I love this thing. I'm gonna continue using it until I don't, which will probably be sooner rather than later, honestly. I really want 2 SD card slots. I'm super paranoid about everything. And so at the end of the day, this is still a great camera. This is a really good pocketable setup. I just wouldn't take it anywhere near a wedding or an event or anything I have to do video that is outside because, oh man, the overheating is really bad. Anyway, I want to thank you all for watching. I'll see y'all next time. Yeah. Does butthole want food? Yes. Does butthole want food? Yes.